What them sons of fishes up to now?
Fellas, I give you the force trolling motor. It is the most powerful, the most efficient on the water.
Yep. Most powerful. We're really in trouble now.
And it's quiet, too. You can't swim here.
What a dumb bass.
All right, welcome to ABT Live, show number 22. We started this, wow, it's been 15, 16 months ago now when we seemed to be the whole country in lockdown, and look at us. About half of us are probably in lockdown again tonight. So we did debate getting out the old Lockdown Live logos, but we worked out that was too much effort. Especially since in another show or two we're going to be out of it again anyway. Well, that's what we hope. I hope wherever you are, whatever part of Australia you're in, you're doing the right thing as fishermen. I know in a lot of parts of Australia we're still allowed to go fishing. Some parts it's if you're fishing for essential food, like if you're in Brisbane like us. If you're fishing for food, you can do it, but you can't go within 10 kilometres of your house. We talked to Adam Costa tonight, who tells us about some of the rules in Sydney, and I was talking only earlier today to Sean Clancy from Hummingbird. He's based down in Melbourne, and he says their trajectory is out of lockdown. So we're all at various stages of this thing. I think fishermen have been pretty good through this thing. I haven't seen any news stories where it says fishing has been the cause of COVID spread. Got a pretty cool show tonight. We've got plenty of prizes. I've got a table full of prizes here. Thanks to everybody who shared the promo on Facebook for the last couple of hours. We had like 150 shares or something like that on that. Actually, 146 shares when I wrote it down before. We have a winner of this prize here. Let's get straight into that. 16 packets, I think, of Daiwa Bait Junkie there in one of their plastic packs. Bucky Selkirk. Don't know who you are, Bucky, but you have won that competition. You shared it. You tagged a lot of your mates in there. So we will send you a PM or send ABT a PM on Facebook. We will get your address and we will ship that stuff out for you today. So stop sharing the promo video. If you're going to share anything, share this show now, and we'll get it out to your mates and give you something to do while we're in lockdown. On the show tonight, we're going to talk to Carl Jocumsen, Australia's favourite Bassmaster Elite Series Pro, slightly ahead of Taku Ito. I know all of us Australians love supporting the people who aren't American and the people who are underdogs, and it was great. We'll talk to Carl a little bit later tonight. We're going to talk to Josh Lowry, who's the brainchild behind the brand Samaki, runs the company Bluefish Imports. They've just moved from the Central Coast up to the Gold Coast. We're going to have a bit of a chat to Josh about some of the new brands they're involved with at the moment. So might be some new information there that you haven't heard before. We're going to talk to Cole Linton, works for Nomad. They're the representative of BKK Hooks in Australia. And of course, they are the naming sponsor of the BKK Bass Electric Series. We're going to catch up with Cole in his fancy garage studio a little bit later tonight. We're going to talk to Adam Costa, who is locked down pretty hard in Sydney there. But we're going to have a bit of a chat to him, visit him in his store, virtually that is, and see what he can and can't do, what he's fishing for, what's selling at the moment, and that he is still open for business. And last but not least, we're going to have a chat to Scott Sanderlands tonight. Now, you might know the name, but if you watched the Queensland Open last year, you definitely know the name. He is the current Samaki BREAM Queensland Open champion. He is going to take us on a tour of his boat, which is an Angle Pro powered by Mercury. So we're going to visit him later in the show as well. So we all know what the situation is at the moment. We had to pull the plug on Somerset. It was an event that had 50 plus boats in it. It was going to be our biggest bass event of the year. Unfortunately, the Queensland lockdown, being 11 of the LGAs here are locked down, we couldn't run that. The narrative from the Queensland government was not too negative. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that we're 100% going to have to cancel the Samaki BREAM Queensland Open next week. If we can run it and it's not tone deaf to run it and it's the right thing to do, we are going to be running that event. And likewise with the Gold Coast BREAM event next week. I know no New South Wales anglers can come there, but for the local Queensland anglers, they're hanging out for an event. So if we can run that Gold Coast Queensland BREAM event, sponsored by TT, event of the Daiwa BREAM Series, we will run it, but we'll find out a lot more on Sunday afternoon. Now, for all of that information, best place to go to get info for all of those cancellations, etc., is abt.org.au, the website. We'll try to share all of those things on social media. And remember our basic principles with ABT. If we're not allowed to run an event, we're not going to run it. If you're not allowed to travel to the event, we're not going to take your entry into it. But if we can run it and you can travel to it, we are all systems go. We're trying to get as many events done as we can, and hopefully by Christmas we've all done the right thing, and 2022 is going to be a cracker of a season. We've announced that the sharing prize, you can stop sharing the promo video now. Bucky Selkirk, send us a message or we'll get in touch with you via Facebook. Thank you very much for that. Let's talk about some of the prizes we have tonight. We have one prize which is going to consist of a couple of loose reels, baitcaster and spin reel there, cracking prize worth over $500. To commiserate the Key Tech round of the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series, all of that Key Tech stuff goes to one lucky person tonight, and we have a pretty interesting mechanic with that. We've got product here from BKK Hooks. We've got product here from Samaki. Plenty of prizes for you tonight. Let's face it, the real good stuff in the Olympics doesn't start until after we've finished anyway, so feel free to join us for the next 90 minutes or so as we run this show. Little bit of a narrative about what happened with that cancellation. We've been pretty open with how we deal with that. If you were entered for Somerset at the time we cancel it, you get a credit towards the Bass Pro Grand Final. And like we've said all year, fish 3 events in the Bass Pro Series over 2020 and 2021. We're going to make sure that you get an invite into the Grand Final. Now, at the moment, we've done the numbers on that. They're all on the website. We have 52 boaters and 40 non-boaters qualified with those criteria at the moment. So looks like if you're a non-boater, you're going to get a run if you've qualified. And if we have too many boaters, I'll go a little bit further down that list of Angler of the Year for the non-boaters to get people involved. And we're going to try and have a full field for that Bass Pro Grand Final on the Richmond River to win a bluefin boat with a Mercury motor this October. Whatever month it is, I'm looking for a nod from the side. Later this year, anyway. Let's hope we can get that done. One thing that I have deferred to our tournament director for all events at the moment is Nicole Smith. I said, Nicole, you work out what happens with AOY. So currently the decision is that AOY is your best 4 events, and we've only been able to have, I think, 3 events this year. So I think Nicole's decision is tending towards to be able to include that Bass Pro Grand Final into the AOY calculation, so we can at least have 4 events that count towards it. In the BREAM events at the moment, because we've had more than the minimum number of events, it looks like that may stay as it is, but let's see how cancellations happen for the rest of the year. But if you're a Bass Pro guy, I know Matty Langford's leading that at the moment. When I talked to Matty earlier in the week, he says, I'll do what I have to, I'll fish against who I have to maybe win that AOY. Let's see if that grand final ends up being that 4th event. Fingers crossed. Let's leave you with that at the moment. We'll go to our first segment when we caught up with Adam Costa in his little shop down in Miranda in New South Wales to see how he is faring with lockdown. So here he is, the man who is obviously the quickest deliverer in Australia. Adam Costa, you've been doing it for years. You've been keeping tournament and just general bream and bass fishing guys happy forever. And you are sitting right now in your lockdown shop in Miranda, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Steve, how are you going?
Not too bad, mate. Look, a lot of us have been to your store. We know it's one of the smaller stores in Australia. You're not feeling a bit claustrophobic, jammed in there, you and 50,000 lures?
Oh, you have to have all the doors closed so no one comes in. So, yes, I am a little bit.
Lockdown in Sydney, how long's it been going for you now? It's been nearly a month, hasn't it?
Not exactly sure. It just feels like most days are the same. I think my kids have been home from school for maybe 4 weeks after the holidays, so maybe 6 weeks. I couldn't say. It just feels, all the same.
And Groundhog Day for you obviously is what, click and collect now and doing mail orders like you normally do?
Yeah, so normal mail orders, that's all the same. Click and collect, so you can't physically come into the store. You have to order online and choose local pickup or click and collect, and then I'll give it to you. Yeah, outside.
Just like throw it out the door to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us what the fishing rules are in Sydney. It seems like through most of the lockdown stuff, the authorities are a little bit more sympathetic to people going out and sort of going for a fish. I know in Queensland here, we can't go recreational boating, but we can go fishing for food within 10 kilometres of home.
Yes.
What's the rules like in Sydney?
Yes, same. 10 kilometres from your house. If you go with a friend, my understanding is you have to remain 1.5 metres away if you're on a boat.
Yep.
Yes, but you can't go further than 10 kilometres from your house. Not from the boat ramp, it's from your house.
Yeah. So how does that place you in respect to your local waterways? What's on the menu for you?
I'm all right. I'm only like, I don't know, probably 1 kilometre from Port Hacking River and probably 3 kilometres from the Georges River.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. But a lot of my customers and a lot of my friends are, limited to where they can go.
Now, one of the good things that you do that I watch all the time are your videos on the YouTube channel, on the fishing.com.au YouTube channel. You're still able to go out and create content for your customers and your friends?
Yeah, I can. I'm probably doing the same thing a lot and fishing the same part of the system. So it's getting a bit monotonous, but yeah, I'm waiting for the water to heat up a bit so I can start throwing surface, Steve.
Well, I watched your video the other day on winter top water action. I'm going, some big blue nose brim on top waters. I like to see that. It was a stinking salmon, mate.
Yeah, I know. I have to say, I went out the other day and got a few really good tailor, like biggest tailor that I've probably ever caught.
Yep.
So that was cool.
I haven't watched that video. Do you take them home and eat them like they should be eaten?
Nah, too much mess.
Think of all the lures they've stolen off you over the years.
Yeah, they always get the bent minnows, don't they?
They do have an appetite for that. Now, give a shout out to if people want to follow you on your YouTube channel, what's the channel name and how can they get in touch with you?
Ooh, I think it's fishing.com.au.
Yep.
YouTube.
And,
socials are all the same.
you got?
Well, I'm over 1,000 now because we wanted to get to 1,000 so we could live stream. Maybe if we did the Australian Open, remember we were about that? So that was the goal, and now I'm at 1,000. I'm not really that much. I'm not interested anymore. So once you get
just a little goal.
Yeah, that was my goal. So.
Well, I'll tell you what else you can do. Once you hit 1,000, I think you can monetize now too. So, people might be able to, if you earn a cent from everyone that watches your videos, mate, it'll help your income in the store there. Because I know you, and like a lot of the tackle stores, it all helps at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know how much you'd make, but yeah.
I tell you what, from experience at the start, it's not much, but hey, every cent in your hand and not in YouTube's hand is happy days.
Yeah, just Miller rod and an exist every year would be good, wouldn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Can't hurt. Now, tell me, during lockdown, I know various parts of Australia and various parts of the audience tonight are in various stages of lockdown. What's been the key products for the last couple of months for you? Well, like, what can't you keep on the shelves? The bait junkies have been going pretty well with the new, I think they've got they've got a 4.2 inch. I think that a lot of people are chasing dew at the moment. Yep. And they've been going really well. Yeah, everything's pretty much the same. Like, your tournament guys are, very, they throw the same stuff a lot. Your crabs, your jackal chubbies, your Z-Man grubs, motor oil. Yep. Now the bait junkies are going pretty well. You got your Pro Lure S36 in matte black. You got your EKG VX 35s and 40s. Yep. Have I missed anything? Atomic Crank, your one, Atomic Crank, Ghost Gill Brown. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, mate. Say again?
Can you keep aquas on the shelf?
Not salt and pepper. I think I might have a few left though. Yeah. Worm hooks, what is it? The Bam Fuchs.
Yep.
Probably missed one and that probably abused me, but that's cool.
No, it's look, it's that seems to be, you've just encapsulated in 60 seconds there the tackle box of nearly every tournament angler in Australia. Of course, at ABT we had to cancel Somerset this week, which sort of sucked, and we're sitting now. If that lockdown can open, we can run a Queensland Open next week, which will give you something to watch for a few days. We'll be live streaming from the water for a few days there, and then hopefully the Gold Coast round.
Yeah, that'd be good. I was actually looking forward to Mark Sarek beating Jamie McEwen again, so that should be good.
Yeah, well, last time we had an ABT hit out, that's what happened, wasn't it? Mark Sarek beat all of us, so he's, everyone apart from Tristan and Dizzy. So he's a man on the rise. And does Mark spend a bit of money with you there? We should shout out to Mark now. Spend more money with Adam, will you?
Yeah, Mark's good. I like him. Yeah, Jamie's good too. Like Jamie's good value.
Oh, well, those are the Queensland guns, mate. We want to see him in action. Let's have our fingers crossed that we all come out of lockdown soon and we can all get out fishing and only use our live streaming watching as a supplement to our addiction.
Yes, I agree.
Just quickly, anyone who's watching tonight that hasn't been to your online store, give us a shout out of where the web address is.
www.fishin.
Or thunderstorms, and also little disturbances rumbling along this thing will bring us a chance for rain.
There for someone who we lucky draw out that actually caught a limit, tournament limit, as in for the whole tournament in one or all of the tournaments this year. Now, every tournament you fish where you catch a full limit, you get an entry into that. So the mechanic we've got to win these reels tonight is, I want you to work out or guess or tell me how many entries we have into the lose limit. Now, we've through all the qualifiers, Somerset's cancelled, so we have the set number of entries now. There's plenty of them. Remember, the Clarence was pretty fishy. Caney was sort of fishy, and Glenbourne really wasn't fishy at all. So you can go and look in the results if you like and calculate them. Everyone, boater and non-boater that caught a limit, gets one entry for each tournament they did into the lose limit. I'll give you a hint. It's more than 10 and it's less than 100. There you go. That gets you in the zone. But we're going to pick out, at the end of the show, we'll pick out whoever's got the closest or whoever was the first one to nail it right on the head. You can enter down below in YouTube or Facebook. Nicole's monitoring both of those channels. Tell us how many lose limits entries there are. First one to get the right number gets these two reels. One's a spin reel, one's a bait caster. So get into that. We've got more prizes coming up later in the show. But in the meantime, are we going to go to an ad first? We'll go to an ad first, and we're going to come back with Cole Linton from Nomad Tackle. So here we have him, the man who has a much look. I really want to thank you for jumping up and sponsoring the Bass Electric series this year. It's been a great entry-level series. For a number of years, Joey Urquhart ran it and put a lot of energy into it. We've had a few new guys this year. We've had Westy and Adrian step up and run the series. And, it wanted to take you to say, I'm going to sponsor that, about 3 seconds.
Yeah, look, mate, and look, fingers crossed I can get that over the line with the board for next year as well. We'd like to go again. So hopefully I can make a couple more appearances next year and actually fish a few. I've got a boat sitting in the front yard here now that I can actually use for it. So, look, Adrian and Charles have obviously done a really great job, and you guys have obviously given them the platform to be able to go and run such a cool event. And the Electrics I think it's my ideal tournament. I think it takes a little bit more skill than the faster boats, because you've got to make your decisions early and back them. So, it's a great series to be a part of. And as I said, looking forward to hopefully being a part of it again next year.
And how good was the event at Hians? Over 4 kilo bag to win that event. It's, Kane showed everyone what we all know that Lake's capable of.
It's Probably the premier dam in Queensland, I would imagine right now. I mean, for fishability, Somerset's, always been a prestigious lake, but it's notoriously tough, and it has been for months now. Wivenhoe's got some big fish on it, but as you know, it's a 6-knot limit, so it's closer to an electric lake, but it obviously takes a little bit longer to get to those hot spots. But Hinds obviously represents a really good opportunity for anyone in southeast Queensland to go and fish and crack a really good bag, like 4 kilos. That's massive.
One of the things I think I've learned this year, having that close involvement with BKK Hooks, is the fact that BKK makes a much broader range of hooks that I thought about. And you have some hooks that are really, really specifically useful for us in Australia. I was only talking to Josh Lowry from Samaki earlier, and we were showing him these BKKs, which did an entire barra tour and never got changed out. Tell us about these ultra strong, you call them fangs, I think. Tell us about the fangs.
Look, they've just had a name change, so bear with me on that. But the old packaging was called the BT 663s. They're actually a 3x treble, but 4x strong, and they've got that anti-rust coating, which is obviously a testament. They've been sitting in your box for nearly 12 months now, and they haven't rusted. So that coating's is just a premium hook. BKK's been around since the 1800s. They're actually one of the oldest hook manufacturers in the world. So I guess they've just been around for a long time, and they've been doing it, and they've learnt how to draw the material in a way that actually keeps or retains that strength within that metal. It's just nuts.
Does BKK stand for anything in particular?
It's not something you can Google, but Black King Kong is really? Actually what it stands for. I don't recommend Googling that, but it might not bring up what you're hoping for. But bkkhooks.com.au will get you where you need to go if you're looking for anything BKK related in Australia.
Now, we've given away a lot of BKK hooks through the Bass Electric series. You did the BKK Big Bass Prize there, and the guys got a great assortment of stuff. But we actually have given some on Lockdown Live as well, and I've got another pack that we're going to give away here tonight. At the end of this segment, I'll give you the mechanic for doing that. But some of the product that we have in here, like, for instance, your little BREAM assist hooks here, and I'll show them in the camera there. Didn't even know you had them in the range, really, until you started sponsoring ABT. How have you found the traction's been with Aussie anglers? Are they starting to learn about what you've got?
Absolutely. We've been really lucky. The electric guys have been really good at actually communicating that out to the people that they fish with, and the traction's really started to ramp up. Those particular striker hooks only just came out last year, and obviously with COVID affecting AFTA in the way that it has, we haven't had the ability to be able to, I guess, communicate it in the same way as we normally would. But those strikers, they go up to an XL size, which obviously great for bass, the spoons and everything like that. So they've been really good, and then there's obviously a massive range. You've obviously got a few extra packets there we can show the guys at home. So, well,
I've got another one here. This one's called the Diver. It's like a strong worm hook, but a flash on the end. They've been really popular in everything from bass through to barra in the last 12 months. Again, didn't know that BKK did them.
Again, another new product that's probably only just dropped in the last sort of 3 to 6 months, and we've really started to get the distribution out there. And the Titan Diver Plus, which we don't have any in front of me, unfortunately, it's a step up. They go up to a size 16.0, and they've actually got an interchangeable weight. So they've got a unique system where you can pull 2 lugs away from the weight, and you can slide the weight off, and you can change the weight between sort of 7 and 28 grams. So giving you some adaptability, I guess, in those larger soft plastics that you use. So a really good product, and super strong hooks. Those things, you just can't open them. They're crazy.
And another one, which is a favourite of mine, of course, I love my unweighted worm hooks, the Muse. You have those in all sorts of sizes, whether you're aqua fishing or using a pink rub or any sort of that weedless fishing. Good to see you've got something in the range for that as well.
Yeah, look, those Muse hooks actually punch really well above their weight too. My biggest bass came out of North Pine, and I'm going to gloat a little bit here because I don't get a chance to do it very often. But I got a 56 centimetre bass on a 2-inch Kitech off the bank in the timber, and that thing, those hooks they changed my mind on the ways to actually fish soft plastics, especially in places like timber and grass. We don't see a lot of it here, but you get a lot of Texas rigging. I just love Texas rigging soft plastics now, and those are my go-to hook. We do have the Chimera. I'll just hold that up for the camera. That's again a similar style worm hook with that deeper gape and wider body for those slightly bigger soft plastics, and they start in a size 1 in those too. So they're another option for a slightly larger soft plastic for bass as well. So, but both great quality hooks and feature that Teflon. We can't actually call it Teflon coating. It's a Teflon-like coating that makes that penetration rate just twice as quick.
Is that called Super Slide? Because I've got a pack of them here that you do call Super Slide, and I've become a bit of a treble aficionado in the last couple of years, and I love that Teflon. You know, it looks like Teflon, smells like, quacks like Teflon.
Correct.
It's awesome. Like some of the smaller ones, I know that the Daiwa have a very similar hook. Unsure if your factory makes it or not, but it's obviously there's some sort of collaboration happening in the background. They just penetrate so well. Yeah,
look, technologies obviously translate between companies, and Daiwa did have that Saxas stuff, but these are a slightly different gauge hooks to the Teflon, and slightly different gauge hook to the Daiwa one. Sorry, these are a super fine gauge, but ultimately very strong, and they just hook anything. So really, really good hook.
Yeah, and look, I've loved the pathway of learning about these because I'm a bit of a tackle junkie. I think there's nothing better than going through a tackle store that you've never been to before and finding stuff that you've never seen before. So thank you for sponsoring, and thanks for opening our eyes to all of the new cool stuff that you guys have got, and pass that up the line to Damon and the guys as well. It's great to have local companies supporting local tournaments.
Thanks very much for having us, Steve, and thanks for doing what you guys do. Obviously, it's been a challenging 18 months now, and we're just looking forward to getting to the other side of it, everyone getting their needles or whatever they need to do to get things back on track, and everyone out there fishing again. And I'm certainly looking forward to having a crack at the Bass Electric Series maybe later this year. I'm trying to get to one event so I can qualify for Wyangala, because I know that dam's just an absolute cracking place. So
the way it works though is the grand final's actually at Lentils for the
Lentils, sorry, not Wyangala's the Open.
You've already qualified for the Open, mate. You just pay your money and you're in there.
I'm done. Perfect.
But the prize for the Bass Electric Grand Final this year, of course, it's the Bluefin. It's like a P Series punt. It's got green marine lithium batteries. It's got motor guide electric motor. It's on a trailer. It is dead set. Well, I'd call it turnkey, except I don't think it has a key. But, it's ready to go in a Bass Electric tournament. So, fantastic prize put together by all ABT sponsors.
Absolutely. And how long's Bluefin been around now? They've just been such a great sponsor for you guys. So, shout out to them as well. But
Bluefin votes for the 3 Series this year. So.
Goodness, amazing. That's awesome. There's a real change back to aluminium now. You're starting to see that come along in the US now with the Bass Elite Series. You're seeing a lot more guys starting to jump back to aluminium. So it's on trend if you're out there looking for a bass boat. Certainly have a look at the Bluefin options for sure.
All right, mate. Well, we're looking forward to maybe seeing you at that Humminbird Bass Electric Australian Open out at Wyaralong, and most definitely at the Bass Electric Grand Final later in this year, mate. Get the cobwebs off that thing, all right?
Absolutely. I'm coming. It's going to happen. And thanks again for all you do. Appreciate it.
Well, there you go. I told you he had a good studio. Cole looks like he is set up well in his home base dungeon there. And Cole Linton is available on Facebook. We see him hanging around on Facebook now. So any questions about BKK, etc., sing out to Cole. And we also saw Adrian Wilson's hanging around on Facebook there as well. So any questions about the BKK Electric Series, Adrian's online there. Get down in the comments and you can harass him for all the information about the next event coming up. Next event, I think it's Barumba, a 2-day event. Fingers crossed we're able to run that in a few weeks' time. Let's announce the next competition. BKK. I've got all of that product that we were talking to Cole about before. I've got a nice bag here full of the different things we're talking about. Some Nomad crankbaits, some assist hooks, some trebles, some bladed weedless hook rigs. The question I've got to win that, Cole mentioned it. This is like reading comprehension when you're at school. What does BKK stand for? What does BKK stand for? And put it in there. It's not the first one to do it. We'll pick out a random person who gets it right in there. As he said, don't Google it. You'll end up with Big Barry. Mark Starrick, you know what I mean? You'll end up with him. What does BKK stand for? And I'm going to be pretty generous. If you don't know what BKK stands for, let us know any of the model names of any of these hooks. We showed a few up close. Any of those hooks, if you get any of the model names in there, we'll dig into that as well. So by the end of this, I think you'll all know what BKK stands for, and you'll see a whole range of those hooks. So that is going to be won by someone. Again, we're going to announce all of those prizes later tonight. Let's go have a word from one of the ABT sponsors. When we come back, we have Josh Lowry, who's moved to Queensland exactly in time to get locked down.
Seeing the fish, their position, and how they respond in real time. That's game changing.
Taming the beast isn't easy, but the bigger your electronics, the more you have on the line. In conditions like this, you need the KVD Kong Extreme Electronics Mount. The only electronics mount designed and built to be rock solid. No movement, no matter how heavy your gear. A marine grade mount for fresh or salt water that's monstrously strong. The KVD Kong Extreme Electronics Mount.
So we've managed to track him down for ABT Live, Josh Lowry from Samaki and Bluefish. You have made the change to the Sunshine State, mate, and you did it to get out of lockdowns, maybe? What did you do it for?
Oh, to get a bit warmer, Steve, to be honest. So we're a few more species up this way and live the Queensland lifestyle, I guess. But the lockdown hasn't really worked as of today, but yeah, we're loving it so far.
Well, last time we caught up with you, you were on the Central Coast in your big old factory, which had, grown from your garage. We really enjoyed the story of how your company's evolved from literally from the garage to a multi-product, multi-dimensional business. The move to the Gold Coast, have you got bigger?
We have. So yeah, talking about that, I think our first garage we could hold around 10 pallets, and then we went to our next stage, which was about 80 pallets. I think our warehouse would hold. Our current warehouse holds around 400 pallets, and our new warehouse is over 2,000 pallets.
Wow! So your growth is like a COVID growth curve, like this.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got a bit of room to grow into this one, but we've taken the leap because we've got some exciting things coming out in the next sort of plan. Our future in the next 2 or 3 years. So we've leaped, and we've got a big warehouse, so we're very excited.
I think that most people in ABT will know you for a couple of things. One, it's the Samaki Queensland Open. That was an event that was so exciting last year because we had a tie for the winner of that. We went down to 3 decimal places on the app, and we still couldn't split them. And it's slated again for next week. But with the lockdowns, it's probably likely that that's going to get postponed. I really, I suppose from ABT's anglers, I thank you for supporting what's at the innovative spectrum of what we do, the live scoreboards, running the tournaments on the app. You've never been afraid of a bit of technology, have you?
Oh, I love technology, just innovation and technology. It's kind of pretty much, well, that's how Samaki really started, I'm always, in the graphite side, we're always looking for the latest graphite, the latest resin, everything when we develop rods, But yeah, obviously, there's no good technology when there's COVID around for the tournament coming up, but that's out of everybody's hands.
Yeah, it is. And I think, the other place that ABT anglers will know you and your product from is from the Barra side. Like you've always been big in the Northern Territory Barra comps. Your sponsored anglers do really well. But increasingly we see in that ABT Barra Tour space, guys using your product and using it to catch fish. I suppose that's a testament to the fact that you've done a lot of this development yourself. and you make product that catches fish. Give us a little bit of an insight on, and I know we can't see your new product, which is coming out, but give us a bit of an insight of the process that you go through to get a product right.
Oh, geez, it starts with sometimes it can start with hooks. Like it's like people complain about hooks, and obviously I'm active, or people always upgrade things, and so we work out a way to develop a product backwards. The big thing is action. I've been a lure junkie since I was a little kid. I mean, I grew up in tackle shops. I worked in a tackle shop for nearly 15 years. I have thousands of Australian lures, overseas lures, and I was the kid standing at the pool casting out when it was raining because I bought a new lure, and I was whining in my pool with my mother yelling out, "Dinner's ready," So I've always studied different actions, for bass, for barra, for everything. And I guess over time you learn how to try to tweak things, and then hooks have gotten stronger. I mean, back in the day we had mustard and BMC trebles, and that was it. There was kind of nothing, but things are getting stronger and thinner. Now we're fishing thinner fluorocarbon, thinner braids, all of the above. So it's for a lure, it's all about making it, I guess, swim the best. Australia's very different. We throw very heavy leader, especially for barra, and heavy braid, compared to lots of parts of the world. So it's really about getting the action right for whatever species we're trying to develop a lure, and strong enough for our environment.
Let's go to a specific example. I've got a bait here that we gave a flogging to in the Barra Tour last year. It's one of your Reddick jerk baits. That one has had a fair old hiding. This is a lure which is a couple of years old now, but we pulled it out of the box. We've caught about 10 barra on it. We haven't had to change the hooks. The buoyancy's perfect. It must be satisfying for you to see a lure that's caught a lot of barra, which has never been tampered with and has lasted that test of time.
Yeah, well, that was making suspending lure is very difficult. That's one thing I've learned. So you'll in that particular lure. So a bit of a little secret that we do.
Yep.
So the internal weight of that. So obviously we made this lure silent. So for the barra, we find that it's definitely improved, especially barramundi. They definitely like that silent jerk bait.
Yep.
But there's a tiny piece of lead there. So originally we had steel balls. So steel balls are normally very accurate when we make the balls in weight. They're very thin, very close. But it made the slightest sound. So we have injected lead, but the problem with lead is that it's got impurities into it, and there's the weight can adjust only X amount of a gram, which then makes the lure not swim or suspend perfectly. So that internal weight goes through a quality control test. When that's injected, it actually gets weighed for the gram and gets filed, so it's exactly the right weight. So that lure swims perfect every time out of the box.
Yeah, well,
that's one little secret that I can tell you, because I can't tell you all the others, but that's kind of like what goes into making a lure. It's not just about making injecting a piece of plastic, throwing a couple of hooks and a bit of wire in there. There's lots of pins and welded wire, not welded wire, for all sorts of reasons. But probably why Reddick, the Reddick, especially that DS100, I think that's going to be it's going to become very popular as the years come by.
That's great. Products like your rods is another thing you're famous for. The Zings, the Gen 3 has been pretty popular. And again, it's not just picking a rod out of a catalogue, is it? You become a bit of an expert at the physics of resins and the chemistry of graphite.
Yeah. I suppose we're kind of restrained to technology, but carbon every year, I think there's no way it can get better. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we skip like 2 years, and Toray might bring out a new carbon. So they brought out a new carbon maybe 2 years ago, and we tested it, and it was 30% more cost and 4% stronger or 3% stronger. And it was like, it didn't sort of warrant the cost. And then, this year they bring out a new carbon, and it's game changing. It's very expensive, but we're working on new blanks now. And now we're sort of, we test blanks. So not only deadlift, but high sticking. And, normally a brim rod, a high sticking a brim rod can kind of handle between 1.5 kilos as a direct pull down, like for a brim rod, like a 2 to 4 kilo rod. So still very strong. And now this new resin, this new carbon that Toray's developed, it's we're getting like nearly 50% increase, so 3 kilos, so 30% lighter, and now double the strength of 90-degree test, which is normally it's 10% better, 20% better. Never double. So this is kind of, and in 10 years time, that'll probably be the cheap carbon. It's the way that carbon And it's not just carbon. Obviously, it's the resin and the nanotechnology that they have in certain parts of it. But yeah, it's cool. I love it. That's me. That's what I love most about the fishing industry is the technology and trying to make something better.
Is this why you've got Jamie McEwen signed up as a pro angler? You need someone with the cannons to actually get a bend in the rod.
Oh, Jamie he's got it sussed. I think he fishes 5 days a week and works 2 days a week. He's just he's a machine. He loves it, and obviously I'm excited because I'm now down in his area, so we'll start to fish a lot more, which we just about to plan to. So, but yeah, he's got the big guns. He can break a rod if I give him some samples and he gives me good feedback. So it's kind of, that's the stages you get to, right? To before we release it to the general public.
Tell us about some of the new products you've got. You've ebbed and flowed with your involvement in lines and leaders over the years. You've had some braids that were pretty popular, then you're out of braids. What have you got coming up that's the Bream and the ABT anglers are going to be excited about?
Well, we're very, very excited to announce that Bluefish, which is our company, we're now distributor of YGK in Australia. It's the largest line manufacturer in the world. They make the most premium line, the largest by far. They are the largest in the world, and they make a lot of lines, and we've kind of been fortunate enough to be given this opportunity to distribute their new launch. So the founder of YGK sadly passed away, and he wanted to rebrand his whole company from YGK to X-Braid, and that's been his whole thing. So the founder actually has the first patent on developing braided fishing line, so they kind of know what they're talking about.
Yep. And
X is how a braid is made, and this is why they've had X-Braid is their step moving forward. But yeah, so it's X-Braid by YGK, but everything they've brought out is all new, all the latest fibre, never been seen before. So finally, we're going to introduce this where I feel like the Aussie market's going to love. We've got lots of different qualities of braid, not just one price or a cheap price or an expensive price. We're actually going to go through and explain why this braid is this price and what it's good for. So we're, in particular, like talking about ABT, there's a range brought out under X-Braid, which is called Otolus. So X-Braid, Otolus is a sub-brand under X-Braid, and it's all for the premium finesse sort of series they make under the line. Very, very hard coating. So we know that great for the, guys chucking the pontoons, pylons, around oyster racks. This is where this braid is going to be a bit of a game changer. So a super hard finish and long lasting line. So a general PE, like we've been testing all the lines. So it's not just abrasion test and strength test, but it's also lasting test. So like a cheaper braid will last relatively 6 months. That is what is on a cheap PE fiber. Well, when you get up to your higher quality ones, you can get up to 2 to 3 years if you buy to the top of the range. So it may cost a little bit more to start with, but it lasts a lot longer. So, but this is X-Braid Otolus, and you'll see this come out very, very soon. So it's not here yet. It's here in a few months. But you'll definitely see, obviously, with ABT and a few of our sponsored anglers using it on the circuit.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty recognisable in that gold packaging. That's got.
Yeah, the Japanese have this is very fancy packaging. There's that much glitter and foil on it, but it kind of, I guess it shows you off how good the quality of the line is internally. So, but very, very thin, and obviously for finesse stuff for the brim, especially the brim scene, it's going to be really good. There's a huge range coming out, but this stuff here, particular for the brim, it's going to be really good.
That's cool. Tell us about your fluorocarbons as well. You're not just doing braids, the leader side of things you got covered. What's coming there?
Yeah, so there's a large range of fluorocarbon coming out. So we've actually, under that same sub-brand Otolus fluorocarbon, this is a 100-meter shot. So it's parallel spooled, so it can be used as a straight through monofilament. It's a double-coated fluorocarbon, so very high abrasion, really, really hard. So it's the top end of premium sort of fluorocarbon, but we've been able to make, because it's double coated, not normally you can make a double coated fluorocarbon line be castable, but now they have done this. So this is the first. So you can fish a straight through fluoros becoming more and more popular, not just for brim, but even the freshwater scene for cod and that sort of stuff in the heavier, like 24 to 28 pounds straight through. We're starting to be a bit more technical in our country, like the USA. And this one is going to be great for that straight through mono, especially, we've got 3 pound, 4 pound, 5 pound, 6 pound, all for the brim guys. So
That's cool. It is good to see that that some Aussies are finally thinking that no stretch is the best. You got to have some sort of give in the system.
Yeah. I think just for so long, I mean, I remember myself working in tackle shops. All we did, it went from mono to the braid come out, and all we did is we told everybody had to fish braid with fluorocarbon leader. And now it's been 20 years, and we've got to probably now educate that things are getting a bit more technical and fish are getting smarter. Now with all these technology with Lowrance and Garmin, this live scope and that, you literally see fish turning away, and you're like, well, why'd they turn away? So now I think we're going to be evolving more, not on many levels, not just the lure, not just the line, the leader, everything. So exciting times, I think, for Australia. I think there's a lot of different techniques are going to happen, like fluorocarbon straight through over the next, and even nylon. You see Jocko, he's over there. They got mono, they got fluorocarbon, they got braid, and they all have specific reasons why they use that line. So I think we'll definitely evolve in that direction.
Well, I think you've planted yourself in a pretty cool part of the world to do a lot of that. As you know, the southeast Queensland, it's the mix of the tropical species are up the road, the southern species are down the road. You've done well to do it, and well done for moving closer to ABT headquarters, mate. We expect to be doing a bit more stuff with you down the track, and thanks for making the time to join us tonight.
No worries. Thanks, Dave.
Well, there you go. How good is it? ABT Live gives you an insight about what's coming up. I suppose a lot of that product might have been launched at the After Trade Show, which had to get COVID cancelled recently. But big thanks to Josh for joining us there. Great sponsor of ABT. The Samaki brand's been a sponsor of both the BREAM and the Barra for ages, of course. Next week, fingers crossed, the lockdown will end on Sunday and we can fish that Samaki BREAM Queensland Open. Fully run on the app. Follow the live scoreboards. Happens all during the week. If you're in lockdown, it gives you something to watch because, let's face it, nothing exciting happens in the Olympics during the daytime. Let's get on to the Samaki comp. Some of you might have guessed the mechanism for that, but we've got a couple of those, the 100mm deep diving Reddick jerk baits to give away. Got some of his, the Vibalicious and some of the plastics here. Did we steal it out of a ABT cancelled tournament prize pack? Probably yes. Give us either the parent company, the braid name, or the brand of the braid. So what's the braid company called, or what's the brand of braid called, or what's the it's a very weird word, lots of O's and L's in it. What's the actual brand of the braid or the fluorocarbon called that Josh is bringing in or releasing to the market? And you can have a chance to win that Samaki pack. It's not going to be the first one. Again, it's just going to be a random one that has 1, 2, or all 3 of those things right. Plenty of guys, pretty interesting. I went out the back of the office before and, there's bugger all people working in the office at the moment, but someone just clicked on the live stream when everyone's typing in what the meaning of BKK is. It's pretty interesting from the outside. And we've got plenty of entries to that part as well. Of course, all of these tournaments, all of these comps we're going to announce them on at the end of the show. We've got a cracker coming up next for an absolute load of Keytech baits coming up, and we're going to introduce that after the next segment. And of course, the next segment is what we're all here wanting to watch. We want to hear what Carl Jocumsen thinks about the end of his season. He's coming up. So here he is, Australia's favourite Bassmaster Elite Series pro, Carl Jocumsen. Good to catch up. For a bit of a catch-up for the end of the Elite Series, mate. It was a hectic tour this year where you had a lot of events squeezed in, didn't you?
Yeah, this is in my 10 years here now. This is the earliest we've ever been finished. Last year was the latest we've ever been finished. It went with everything that happened with the delayed events and everything. I ended up fishing my final Open in December last year, so that made it crazy to get everything ready and roll out of that, and then straight into fishing the start of February. I think we started fishing this year. So super fast turnover. There was literally no off season, and then now we're we finished about mid July, end of July, and we're done for the year as far as the Elite Series goes. But we crammed 9 pack tournaments in there and a couple of Opens, and I still got a couple of Opens to go. But all the Elites are said and done, and it was hectic, but I kind of like it that way. I definitely like just fishing non-stop. I always seem to do well as we keep rolling and keep fishing. So I enjoyed it this year. It was a fun one.
Yeah, and look, from a spectator's point of view, it seemed like every other week we were up to burning the midnight oil watching Bassmaster live. You know, epic coverage that Bassmaster has. They're winning that game by miles and miles, the coverage. You know, everyone's talking about who won the Bassmaster Elite tournament, basically, nothing else. Great to see another couple of internationals win this year. I think we had Taku win that last one, who I think was the most popular winner since Carl Jocumsen.
Yeah, no, it was awesome to see him win because, you know, similar story coming from, you know, another country. I think with stuff that's happened, his wife and his child had to stay back in Japan. He's over here on his own, just grinding it out. He was kind of like me. I could see me, you know, when I was first starting off, just going from all I did was fish and drive from tournament to tournament. There was nothing else I had to do. I just had to do that. And that's literally what he's been doing. Like when he finishes a tournament, he's practicing for the next one. And, you know, a lot of us do that, but he's on a whole other level. Like, I mean, he's not doing anything but staying on the road. He doesn't have a base. He just goes from, and so, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, good on him, or you can't even say luck, nothing. It's like, this is what happens when you put that amount of work and time in it. So he was idling around Ontario for weeks and weeks and weeks before cut off and finding rock piles, and it all paid off for him. So it was cool because it doesn't always pay off like that, but it's cool to see when someone puts that amount of effort and time in that it all comes back and pays it off. And he did it, and you can just see how grateful and happy he is. He's a fan favorite for sure.
Oh yeah, I think Zona said on live he was a human highlight reel, and it is. The boys have to say nothing; they just shut their mouths and let him talk.
Let him go.
It's entertaining viewing.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome, and he's his boat is another level too. He has everything you can imagine electronics wise. He's got more graphs than anyone. He's got forward facing, and then he's got like the landscape mode on different graphs with lake. He has every different type of graph to maximize whether he wants Lake Master and this. Like, he's dialed in. Like, it's not luck. He's one of the you know, I've just seen just a little bit that I've talked to him and seen his boat. I'm like, he's super dialed in. He's definitely one of the best.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, about forward-facing sonar. The Humminbird Live was released recently, and you've now joined the club of people that can see what's actually happening out in front in real time. And how has that affected your fishing, and how much props do you give it?
Oh, it's everything, you know, just seeing it over the last couple of years and not having it has been frustrating, but I've had 360 when other guys haven't. So 360 has been my biggest advantage over everyone that hasn't had it for years. And then when you look, everyone that's had forward-facing sonar has utilised 360 with it. So when you're seeing Patrick Walters and all the people that changed over and went that way, they all had 360 with it. Anyone that really mastered it, they had those two together. It's like they just go together perfectly. So I put it on. I got it from the Bassmaster Classic. They gave me one. I had to hide it basically and run it to the car, and I drove from Texas back to Tennessee, went down and seen Trent Palmer at Sonar Pros. He's on Lanier, and we fit it all up, got it dialed in. We went straight out on the lake on the brush poles, and we just compared it to how he has his set, and then he helped me sort of dial it in. I got to dial it in. I saw how it would work, and instantly knew this was just going to be like, I learned more on the water in that 3 hours about spotted bass than I have in my 10 years here. Like, it was insane. Just seeing the way they were reacting, how they were coming off the brush piles, what they were doing to the bait and then going back, or whether they did go back or sit under the boat. I was like, this is crazy. And then my very first tournament with it is the very next weekend on Lake Champlain, and I have my best finish of the year. I think I ended up 13th, 13 ounces out of the top 10 cut. Was sitting in, 4th after day 1, and then 8th after day 2, and then just made a bit of a slip on day 3. And caught every single fish basically from it. And on the last day, it was 1:30. I had 3 fish for 6 pounds. I'm due in at 3 o'clock. And at Champlain, like, I was in 8th or 7th going into day 3. And if you don't catch them, you just drop to 45th. Like, you don't drop to 20th or 30th, or like, everyone's going to catch them. So if you don't catch like 15 plus, you're going backwards big time. So I've got 6 pounds and it's 1:30, and I was on top of this hump, and I swung that live across, and it caught this boulder that I didn't even know was there, and it had 30 bass sitting on top of it. And I got lined up with them and made the cast, and I watched them all come up off the rock and chase my bait, and I caught them every cast there and ended up with 17 something pounds. And that helped me stay in the elites. It helped me get back in classic contention, like everything. So I'm like just so excited to fish every day now that I have that, because it's just, I don't know how to explain it. If you don't have it, it's just like, if there's not a fish inside that live view, then don't make a cast. Like, there's nothing there. It's crazy. Like, I can't believe how many wasted casts I've made over the time, because now I know, like, if there's nothing there, nothing's going to bite. I'm excited to finally have it.
Well, let's talk about, you said it helped you re-qualify for the elites. Tell us about those cutoffs and how it's calculated, and how close you got to being an Opens angler again.
Yeah, pretty close. So Bass decided they want to try and get the field down to 90 and potentially 80. And so that meant they were going to relegate 23, 24 anglers, which, and then you have another 15 coming in from, or 12 coming in from the Opens. And so that dug into people a lot. When I got kicked out in 2016, they only kicked out, I think, maybe 10 people, but there was 110 in the elites then. Yeah. And so they sort of, and then they were trying to save, what really hurt me is they were trying to save the legends like Clun and a lot of the, well, not just Clun, but a lot of the guys that went to the other side now, but they were trying to look after those guys. So they made a legend rule, and that's what got me kicked out, because they wanted to bring another legend in and I was the next to go. So if that rule wasn't in, I would have stayed in. But I understand it, and they're working around a lot of things, just trying to make it. They're definitely listening to us a lot more, and I've got much more of a voice, and I've helped a lot of things. Like when I got kicked out in 16, I rang Bass and said, I just got kicked out of the elites. I need to get in the Opens, and the Opens were full and I couldn't get in. And I was like, are you kidding? Like, I'm just fished the elites and now I can't fish the Opens. And they didn't know that was kind of a problem. So like that because of me, that's now a rule. Like the guys that get kicked out get automatic entry into the Opens. And I got to change a lot of things like that. So it was pretty cool, like that they listen now. So we've got emails going, and we've got sort of big votes and stuff like that. And that Bass are continually sending out, how can we make this better? Is this good? What rules can we change? And so they're a lot more open to evolving a bit better to help, the guys that are in there, that are established. And but it's definitely a bit of a cutthroat deal, because, now there's about 23 guys that are established elite guys that are now going back to the Opens. But I snuck in there by about 3 or 4 guys. So I was pretty good in the end, but I had to catch them at that last one. Like I had to catch them at them last 2, and I did that and did my job and got in there. So I was happy with that.
Yeah. I think it's nerve-wracking for you and all of us, mate. It's just as hard for the fans as it is for the angler. Well,
yeah,
not really, but we like to think it.
Yeah.
Tell us, the Central Opens are on your calendar now. It's probably the last way you've got to make the Classic. Maybe if you win an Open, do you go into the Classic?
Yep. So with my Champlain finish, like I jumped right up to where I had a really good shot to make my first Bassmaster Classic. I just had to catch them at St. Lawrence River, you know, and I've done so well there in the past. I love that river. And I literally caught 16 pounds a day, and I lost a 6-pounder on day 2. And like, that was the difference. I had to make that day 3 cut and make a small jump. And I'm in there. Like, I was so close to making the Classic. It was crazy. And, it just wasn't meant to be, you know. I just, like, the difference between catching 16 and 17 a day is nothing. Like, it's ridiculous. And that was the difference between making it. So, I just had bad timing there a little bit, and you know, I would always make the risky run and go to the lake, and I played it a little safe and tried to stay on stuff in the river, and I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have just ran, but that's all the stuff you live and learn by. But the good part is stayed in the elites, did my job there. I didn't, because, you know, making that big risky run could have paid off and made the Classic and done all of that, but it could have really went bad and I caught nothing on day 1 or 2, which could have happened, run to the lake, and did happen. And then now I'm out of the elites and not in the Classic. So I got to look at the positives. So I did my job to stay in the elites and give us another shot. And I have the 2 Central Opens left. So I fished Pickwick and the Central Open, and I come 11th there. And so I've had a good finish already in the first one. And now I've got Smith Lake and Grand Lake, which I think are back-to-back in October. And so they're a little ways away, but I'm going to get a decent pre-practice on Smith. And, you know, I fished Grand for years with Fred out in Oklahoma, and I've fished Smith a bunch here. I've had some top 12s there in the Opens, like some of my original Opens that I fished. So 2 really good 2 good lakes, and they're both in October, tough times a year where I've won 10 killer and had my best finishes in that fall sort of tough bite. So I'm pretty excited for those 2 Centrals, and I was entered into the US Open at Lake Mead, and because got delayed, they put Smith right over the US Open, so now we can't do the US Open.
That
but
sucks,
otherwise it would have had.
That's your gateway to the US.
I know, that's like the best, you know, that's a tournament that I want to win one day. Like, that's a bucket list for sure. And it's still my favorite tournament, you know, that I've ever fished. And I just get good feelings from it, from all that stuff back then and everything, the way it all happened. So I do want to get back out there, but they've sort of changed the dates, which are earlier, so it's not as hot and it's better fishing. And but it seems to always line up with an Open or an Elite or something like that. But that Bill Egan is doing an unbelievable job. Like, that he's getting 200 to 250 boats there now, and a lot of Elite Series guys are going out there, and Iconelli and Martins and all the big names are starting to head back out and fish it. So it's really rejuvenating and getting its name back. And, you know, I think it's $100,000 again, and $100,000 in a boat for first. So it's getting pretty good. So when everything opens up, it's a good one for the Aussies to come over when everything gets back to normal again.
When we're allowed. Hey, one final thing I want to talk to you about is, normally you're in a big rush at the end of the year to turn your boat over and sell it, get your new boat together. Do you have a little bit more time this year to get it all sorted? It seems like you're pretty happy with your current rig.
Yeah, I absolutely love this boat. Like, honestly, this is the one that I would just keep now forever if I could. The Falcon's been unbelievable, and just the way my graphs and everything are set up, and the engine. But it's already sold. So my boat is sold, but I'm not changing it over until I get my new one. And I'm just like, we'll have everything way more organized. Last year was, and every year just seems to be so hectic. Like, it's the scariest time. The worst part right now is getting inventory, like engines and parts and things are so hard to get. That's going to be our biggest sort of thing to worry about. But everything's looking a little bit smoother now. So just more time and more. I want to, you know, we just don't get any time to work on anything else. It seems like you're just going like from one year to the next, and you just don't sort of get time to sit back and say, hey, what's a good different avenue, like rap or chase or anything, you know, any new thing. But it's so hard because you're busy, where now I can work. I want the Fear My Heart stuff to get bigger. We're working on doing the bigger cleanup stuff and involving Fear My Heart, my sponsors in that, and working on other business side of things, and then looking at a different design for the wrap, or, you know, anything like that. There's just, I'm like, my mind's got lots to do. It's going to be busy. You're going to be working for sponsors, but cool stuff, because I get to like think about how we can change it up for next year, and you know, and then just be more, everything's more organized, especially tackle wise. I'm sort of getting in, I'm almost in heaven right now with my tackle, because it's getting super organized, and it's never been like that. And so now I've got more time to really dial it in. And then we've got the schedule already out, so I can be like, okay, Florida stuff ordered, got it in, and then ready, packed, and then what's the next one, and I'll have everything lined up and ready to roll. But you know, this has definitely been my smoothest year as far as just enjoying it. Zero excuses for anything. I know I'm as dialed in as I can get. The last thing I ever needed was live to sort of get me back up to scratch with the people that had it, and now I have that. So I'm pretty excited for next year.
Well, speaking that, and this is the very last thing, speaking of some of your sponsors, TH Marine's a big sponsor of yours. Give us a shout out for these for the magnetic tackle Titan racks. I've been putting them in my boat recently. These things are gold, aren't they?
Yep, they're awesome. I've got 2 of them in my boat. They got the magnetic strip, and you got the hook, like bunch of stuff from TH, and you've got the Hydra Waves in stock, haven't you?
Yeah. We do Hydra Waves and the Kong mount. So it's some good gear, and it's good to see a lot of the stuff that the guys buy through our store sitting on your boat there. But I just remember that you're the same as me. At the end of the day, you'd have a cup holder that's full of like a pile of lures and a tangle of lures. It's like now I have a very organized tangle of lures. With the magnetic.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect for drying them out and just keeping the rust off them and just putting them up there. And then at the end, or sometimes I put them up there before the tournament starts. Like, I'll rig all my rods, have them all laid out. And then I'm like, I want to throw that color or a chatterbait and that spinnerbait. And so I'll hang the lures up so I don't forget to throw that. Like, oh yeah, I got to throw that bait. And so I'll have the ones up. I'll have them on the ones that I want to throw up there. And then I'll have one empty for all the guys that don't make the cut.
Fair call, mate. Look, it's been great following you. It's great to see you got some time on Bassmaster Live towards the end of the year. And all Aussie fans, mate, we try to get a shout out from Mike Sukan every time, and I think we did the last time you were there. He always has to give a shout out to the fans over here. So great to see you, mate. I think I'll give you a call after you qualify for the Classic and one of the next 2 elite events. I mean, next 2 Open events, all right?
Yeah, that'll be perfect. As soon as I win it, give me a call. We'll do it. We'll do an interview.
Thanks for joining us, mate.
Appreciate everyone. Appreciate all the Aussies, ABT, all the support. I see the Aussies wearing Fear My Heart gear on my jerseys. We got to do another jersey run. I do get a lot of people asking for that. So we've got to do something like that. But yeah, just say Kayla and I, we watch every single one of the messages. I see the Team Jocumsen page and everything that gets posted, and just we appreciate it so much, and it means the world to us. And we read every comment. Kayla makes sure I see them all. And did you see this? So Kayla's always staying up on it. But as these centrals come up, I'll keep posting and follow us along and give us some big fish vibes for that one.
No worries. And here's the deal. If you have a new jersey design, you got some time now, new wrap, new jersey design, we'll do a new run of shirts so all your fans can get involved. How's that sound?
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Let's do it.
All right, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. See ya.
Well, there he is. What a great season it was to follow, the ups and the downs. You know, when you follow Carl, you're either going to be the hero or the zero. Good to see he's levelling out some of those lower finishes and looking after his sponsors. And hey, how humble with all of his fans. Great to see that he reads all of the messages that you and I and everyone put up there, because it means the world to him. So that's fantastic. Let's got a bit of an offer for you. We talked about some of the TH gear that Carl was talking about, some of the Tackle Titan, the magnetic lure racks. They're all in the ABT store, which is on tournamentboats.com.au, but a lot of them don't qualify for the freight. Like, it's $15 freight to go through it. So we thought, since we had Carl on there and to celebrate the end of his elite season, we're going to do a free freight offer for the whole Tournament Boat store. That's the YOLO Tech poles, Tackle Titan gear, Hydrowave minis, the Buck and Bash shirts, hats, head socks, all that sort of stuff, which normally you'd have to pay freight on. Now it's all free. So there's a code down there. I see the code is LIVE22. That's ABT Live episode 22. Use that code anytime until midnight on Sunday. And doesn't matter how small the order is, we're going to do free freight for you. So if you wanted to try one of the magnetic lure racks, or you needed a YOLO Tech pole, you didn't want to give $15 to Australia Post, you don't have to. I'll give it to them, but you don't have to anymore. So remember that code, LIVE22. It's operational until Sunday night. Now, we've got another prize to give away now. I've packed all the prizes. I've been busy in between all those segments are running. We've packed all the ones that we've shown so far, but this is a cracker. We've got these Keytech packs. They're full of the little easy shiners. There's some jigs in here. There's some jigs in there. We've got some trailers. We've got some little spider grubs here. There's heaps of stuff. And look, are you trying to count the number of grubs we got here? That's what that's what it's going to be about. To commiserate the cancellation of the Keytech Somerset round. Was Keytech this weekend, wasn't it? Yep, at Somerset. I want you to tell me how many actual baits we're giving away, not how many packets of baits. How many actual baits, like that jig packet there, that's got 1 in it. Those grubs there, there's 7 in that one. There's 10 in that one there. And we have all of these here. So I'll give you a hint again. It's between, it's between about 120 and 250, somewhere in there. Big shout out as well to the people that went and actually calculated how many limits there were for the lose limits. We do have a winner for that competition. It wasn't anyone that calculated, sorry. A guesser beat you, but big effort there. And Neil Satura, we knew your strategy. You just went every number between what I suggested. Again, good strategy, but you weren't the first to get the winning number. We're going to announce all of these prizes after our next segment. Make sure you get your guess in. How many Keytech baits have we got there? There's plenty here. We may have robbed it from the prize pack from the Keytech round, but have a guess. And doesn't matter whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, belt it down there, and we will pick a winner very shortly. One more segment to go in the show tonight before we start announcing all of these prize winners. It's Show Us Your Boat, and it features the current Samaki BREAM Queensland Open champion, Scott Sanderlands. Hope you enjoy it.
Hey, once Scotty Sanderlands here. I've been asked to show my boat. It's an Angler Pro Sniper 484 2017 model. Love it, great boat, really versatile. Can fish tournaments one day, take the family out the next, and even duck offshore on a good day and chase some reef fish and mackerel and things like that. On the back, it's powered by the Mercury 90 4-stroke CT. Awesome motor, really reliable, got just over 260 hours on it. Fuel economy is incredible. At Watt, I'm getting about 2 kilometres per litre. Back it off and you get up to like 3 kilometres per litre. With an 8 litre fuel tank, gives you just a massive range. You can fish a whole tournament weekend and not have to worry about putting fuel on your boat, which these days the price of fuel is really good. It comes in handy. We'll just jump up inside and have a look. It's up the front. Got the mint coated Terrova 80 pound, the spot lock. Really good solid motor. Great out in the bay when it's a bit rough. You can just spot lock on your reef, not get blown away and have to worry about moving all the time, especially hook up a fish or something, you sit there and fight it. Yeah, really reliable. Got the Lowrance HDS9 Gen 3 mounted on a Marine Dynamics bracket. It's a nice stable bracket, keeps it nice and solid and doesn't bounce around. With most tinnies, you get a lot of storage, but you don't really get storage that can hold your tackle. So I've had to modify it a bit. Just made up a basic box just to drop in there. Keep my plastics and jig airs and a bit of spare line and hooks and things in. Keeps it nice and organised. Live well, this basic live well, it's got 2 pump-in pumps, a flow right aerator on the timer. It's also got the pump out function so I can recycle the water through the day and give the fish fresh water, especially on the hot days. I've also made a box up here, it's a bit of a step as well, just to keep all my hard body lures in, my crabs and things. And just keep the life jackets and sunnies and stuff on the other side, just keeps it all nice and neat. On the side, I've actually taken the side pocket out and mounted a Berkeley horizontal rod rack there. It holds 6 rods, which is heaps in a tinny. Any more than that and it gets a bit cluttered, end up tripping over them all. I didn't want to put a rod locker there because I didn't want to encroach in the side of the hull, especially if I go fishing offshore. I can still get my knees up under the gunnel and hold myself there when I'm bottom fishing or whatever. Keeps you out of trouble. On the console, I've got the HDS 9 Live, and just a little Fusion stereo, just a little 24 megs radio under there, safety. At the back, just a bit more storage there for your life jackets and things like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a real simple, basic rig. Good tournament entry boat. You know, covers all the bases. You know, anyone that's got a tinny that wants to get into ABT fishing, just give it a crack. You don't need a big flash bass boat to do it. You know, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much, Scotty, for showing us your boat. It is, of course, that Angler Pro, powered by Mercury. All of the Show Us Your Boat segments have, of course, been powered by Mercury. Mercury, the #1 sponsor for ABT when it comes to outboard motors for like decades now. We run the Mercury bonus program. There's about 60 to 70% of the field every time is running Mercury. They look after you guys really well, and we really appreciate their support. So thank you very much, current Queensland Open champion and Scotty Sanderlands. If you're wondering what's going to happen with the Queensland Open, if we have to postpone it, that's an event we can probably postpone because it runs during the week and we can find a gap to fit it in. A lot of people said, oh, how come we don't postpone Somerset? The thing is, we get real busy from now on with all of the, apart from the magazine work that we do, with all of the grand finals, the opens, the Barra events coming up. It's pretty hard to find an event, find a window to do it. We have plans next year to maybe leave a window or two to do some postponing, but this year it seems that this springtime is so full that that's what we actually have to do. So, so if the Queensland Open gets axed, we will postpone it. We'll run it sometime between now and the end of the year, but the Somerset one, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to reschedule. I've got some winners for you, though. This is what a lot of you people are waiting for. And look, I've been busy during the break, so I've been packing it all up. All of the Key Tech baits are in there. We've got the Samaki baits. We've got the BKK hooks. We've got the Daiwa bait junkies. And in there, I've got a couple of those great lose reels. Not coming from Amazon Prime, coming from ABT. And let's go through them. The lose, that was the number of lose limits. The number of limits was 57. There you go. So there were 57. And Elion, well done on calculating it. You got it absolutely right, but you got it too late because Shaggy Prime Time on YouTube. The name sounds familiar. He might have won a prize before, but if you're watching Shaggy Prime Time, send us a message on Facebook to our Facebook. We'll get your address and I'm going to throw these lose reels in the mail to you. So congratulations. The BKK hooks, of course, it stands for Black King Kong. That's what it stands for. Don't know if you Googled it, what came up, but that's what BKK stands for. Aaron Davis got that right. He was on Facebook. We'll be able to send you a message, Aaron. But Aaron, if you're watching, send us your address. We will get the kit to you. That is the BKK hooks. Hooks are nice and easy to post. Got them there, ready to go. The Samaki. We asked what was either the company name or the brand name or the product name for the new braids. Of course, it's YGK, the brand, the company, it's X-Braid, the brand, and it's Old Tolos, the fluorocarbon and the braid. So a lot of you got that right, of course. Josh is excited to be launching that into the market. And it was Michael Randall on YouTube. So Mick, if you're watching, get on Facebook, flick us a message. We want to know your address, although I think you are an ABT member. So that's the Samaki pack, which is there. Next one was the Key Tech pack. That was Anthony Winters. The correct number was 198. 198 baits in there. Anthony Winters, you were on Facebook. You got that correct. So there is 198 individual Key Tech baits coming to you in that pack there. Shoot us your address so that we can get that sorted. And of course, we had the sharing before. We had, I think, 150 or so of people share our promo for it. There is the Daiwa Bait Junkies there that are going to the winner. Can I remember? Yes, Bucky Selkirk. Great name, mate, and you've won that pack. So if we haven't heard from you yet, get on Facebook and send us the message. I think that's it for me tonight. We've been through a bit of information. We've talked to some great people. We are going to finish off with what we call our room clearer. It's some fantastic action from last year's Samaki BREAM Queensland Open, the one that was actually a tie in the end from Scott Sanderlands and Charlie Sakeo. Scotty won on countback. Here is some action from that day. Remember, we've got the free freight. Use that code earlier. It was Live22. Gets you free freight. You're going to bring it up there, Nicole. There's your test. Live22 is the free code. If you want free freight on anything in that tournament boat store, you want to shout yourself a buck and bass, head socks, nice new shirt, anything which was under $250 is going to qualify from free freight with that code there. So let's go to the room clearer. We'll catch you guys next time. We hope that next time we see all of you, we're all out of lockdown and we're all fishing hard. So Steve Morgan leaving you now from live. Nicole is waving to us there. She's masked up and sitting there producing it. Thanks very much for getting all that stuff together. We will see you next time on episode 23 of ABT Live. In 2020, Samaki were the naming rights sponsor for the BREAM Queensland Open. We had a great field, 13 of Queensland's best bream anglers fighting it out on the Gold Coast on day one, and now on day two, they fished Moreton Bay. Scotty Sanderlands won the most tied event we've ever had. He was tied with Charlie Sakeo, won on countback, and here's one of his kicker fish.
Oh, he's a nice one. Yeah, good fish.
The Day 2 arena ran from the power lines at the Logan in the south all the way to Caloundra in the north, so Scott chose his favourite bream spots at Redcliffe and used the crankbait.
When you're catching them all day, you don't care really, but you know. I guess I'll just pole them in. Yeah. 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 Alright. 29, 30 or something? Yeah.
That was hard work. Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, you're confident on that one colour, isn't it?
Charlie Sakeo's first ABT win is still eluding him. His weight was equal to Scotty Sanderlands, but Scott's bigger first day bag broke the tie break. Charlie, you're going to have to keep trying. Charlie caught nearly all of his fish at the worst smelling but possibly most productive part of the river, the treated water outlet at Luggage Point.
Massive. Wow, right. That was about 2 hours. No, about an hour? Felt like. 27 and a half. Oh, yeah. I bet you. Oh, shit. Got it? Yeah, let's do one. Let's do it. That's a nice one. Oh, yes! Yes, buddy, yes! That's a nice one.
We hadn't seen much of Shane Walhooter in the last couple of years for bream tournament fishing, but he came back with a bang and took home $1,000 for third place. Andy scored the camera with no audio. Blake O'Grady must have been on a high from his 74 fish first day of the Queensland Open. He spent day 2 out at Mud Island and kept catching them.
He feels a good fish. Just shaking his head. Bream. Coming out. Sick. Yeah. Take him. Did you see that then? A fish come to the surface, I cast straight at it in front of me and it hit it. Yeah. It was just on the surface, it was just sitting there. I'm on. Am I? A weed, I think. Maybe. No, it is a fish. It is a fish. What's it doing? Oh, it's a bream too. It's a pole job.
And when you've caught that many fish, it's no problems upgrading from, say, 5 or 10 metres away.
That's a bream. Oh, he come off. You won't be the only one in there, I reckon. There you go. Oh, he's a bigger one. Oh, what's got on my drag then? Did you hear that ugly noise my drag made then? There we go. That's sick. That's a better fish.
And this last fish helped him barge his way into 4th place.
Oh, God, Blake. What am I doing to myself? I'm going to give myself a heart attack. That's a better fish. That's a better fish. Well, better than 17 centimetres anyway. Hey, where's my landing net? Don't tell me someone nicked my landing net. It was at the front of my house last night. I got no landing net. I think that one's hooked all right. Number 2. He's an alright fish. He's about 27 or something like that. With a little fat black crank. Nice. Might have been a bite. It's a fish. Not a giant. Better than I thought. He was just swimming at me. Yes. All that watching smallmouth bass fishing last week paid off. You gotta lie down and just flip it in. There he is. I don't know if it's a bream or not. It's like a flathead or something. It's 2 bream on 1 lure. There was 2 bream on 1 lure there. Yep. 1 on each arm of the crab. Nearly got 2 at once. They must have been fighting over it. One of them fell off just below the surface. Yeah, he's going to hit that keel, I reckon. Yeah. I do.
Unfortunately, Jamie McEwen couldn't replicate his 2019 form and had to give Jeff back for the year. Better luck next year, Jamie. And we think Mark Sarek must have won the prize for having the most colourful video of the day, but unfortunately he didn't have the most fish. But Mark, it was great to have you at the 2020 Samaki Queensland BREAM Open. We'll leave you with his captures. And if you like this highlights video, there's plenty more Queensland Open coverage at our website, which is www.abt.org.au.